Well, Ali, I want to sort of finish off with one or two questions for you, your take on this. I mean, if we were to play devil's advocate here for a second, and you know that I'm broadly identify with sort of your perspective on this as well, and I do think that the Israeli occupation is probably the primary obstacle to peace, and certainly it's inexcusable in any event. For Israelis that think that every time that they withdraw, they only receive sort of violent terrorism, are on the receiving end of violent terrorism, that regardless of what happens in the West Bank, you still have Hamas controlling Gaza. How does one respond to those critics?
Well, it was funny. Obama had this kind of mixed message where he said that Israel can never be destroyed, but that Israel can't survive if it tries to hang on to the West Bank forever. He said that in this Jerusalem speech yesterday, and that sounds like a bit of a paradox, but actually I think it's kind of true that there is no state there's no this rump of a state that's here now is not going to grow into anything that's going to threaten Israel. And at the Herzliya conference, there's a former Israeli general named Nadi Sharon who said, and it was funny, his phrasing was funny because it's still, as I said, everything was very much from this Israeli security and long-term solvency perspective. He said, whatever borders Israel picks are defendable. And so I think that's a true statement. Like this idea of the Auschwitz borders, the 1967 lines, that's all hogwash. Israel is a nuclear-armed power with one of the most powerful militaries in the region. It's got, and Obama emphasized this, that at least for the next 3.5 years, Israel is going to have the full backing and support of the United States. It's under our wing, and nothing is coming from the West Bank is going to visit any harm upon Israel. It's not significant. No security situation is ever perfect, and that's the way it's going to be. But the truth is that there's actually been some pretty horrific rocket losses in southern Israel, but they haven't really been that terrible. And I think the separation wall is just a terrible crime that's being perpetrated on the Palestinian people because of the hardship it causes them. But the truth is the bombings inside Israel are down. There hasn't been a death of an Israeli emanating from the West Bank in 4 years. And
there hasn't even been a death of any settlers in 2012, I should add.
Right.
In the West Bank.
And it's just, you have to balance what are going to remain legitimate security concerns, whether or not there's an Israeli occupation, whether or not there are continued settlements. There are always going to be legitimate security concerns, and you have to balance those against your long-term well-being, your moral standing, international isolation. And all those things should fall into a cost-benefit analysis. And, we'll see if Israeli society or its leadership is able to make that analysis. But it doesn't look that great for the moment.
Well, Ali, did you at least did you get it? Were there any fun moments yet? Have you had a chance to go out and hang out at all on your sort of serious reporting?
Yes. I was saying about Tel Aviv, it's weird that the occupation is sort of just a non-factor there. People don't think about it. It's incredibly expensive, but I have to say it's a fun city, It's right on the beach, and it's just really full of lovely women. And, the people that I was hanging out with, we tend to talk a little bit about politics. And then here in Ramallah, there's some really great folks working locally here who are great fun to hang out with, and even just I'm loath to call it fun, but it's quite an experience that's been really enriching in just the same way a fun experience might be, and so yeah, it's been I'm very glad to be here and have seen the things that I've seen and talking to people, whether it's about serious matter or telling a few jokes, and so yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, Ali, it is always a pleasure, and we thank you for your excellent reporting, and get back safe.
Okay, thanks a lot, Daniel. Talk to you soon.
Appreciate it.